And we're back with some more LA Kings franchise mode, and we have once again been kicked out of the playoffs by the Edmonton Oilers in 5 games, except this time in the first round instead of the second round. So I honestly don't know what to do when it comes to Edmonton. I mean, you just got to score as many goals as possible, I suppose. You're clearly not stopping them on defense, even with a solid defensive core. I mean, we have usually Kuhlman's next to Doughty, but I think he got injured as soon as game number 5 was over. And then Manson and Clark, they're pretty solid as well. And then not to mention our goaltender, Shesterkin, who put up a .914 save percentage. So it's not even entirely his fault. It's just we couldn't score more than Edmonton is basically what it came down to. Any series against Edmonton needs to be a goal-scoring series, it seems. And clearly we didn't have enough to answer what they were putting up. So I guess we're going into the offseason here, and this is going to be quite a rough one because we may end up having to release someone like Nikolai Ehlers or like Josh Manson due to the salary cap restraints. So that's certainly going to be rough. And I knew that would happen when we signed Pastrnak, but still, it sucks. Especially since we didn't win the Stanley Cup this year, and we didn't even come close for that matter. And there we go. The Stanley Cup champions are the Tampa Bay Lightning, so we didn't even lose to the Stanley Cup champions, and the Calder Cup goes to Binghamton. And now look at the awards. Tampa obviously won the Cup. It was Washington with the President's Trophy. It was Anaheim versus Tampa in the final. The Art Ross goes to Laine. The Hart goes to Laine as well. The Norris goes to Carlson. The Lady Byng goes to Huberdeau. The Calder goes to Surdiff of Florida. The Conn Smythe goes to Vasilevsky. The Vezina goes to Samsonov. The Jennings goes to Korpisalo. The Masterton goes to Josi. The Jack Adams Award goes to Desjardins of Nashville. The Selke goes to Couturier. The Ted Lindsay Award goes to Laine. And the Maurice Richard also goes to Laine, so no longer Sagan. Actually, let's see how far Edmonton went. They could not beat Calgary. Wow, so they didn't even move on to the third round. Ugh. That definitely leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So let it be known, there is a franchise player in the draft this year, Emmanuel Vayu. He is a sniper, a center sniper for that matter. A-pluses in shooting and puck skills. 43 goals on the season last year in the QMJHL, 65 assists. So on a positive note, we had a lot of good growth this year. Keith Ho, despite his struggles, did have some natural growth in there. So, I mean, he did have some statistical regression as well. But what's important is the natural growth, as that is obviously the more permanent of the two stats. So that's a good growth year from Keith Ho. So we'll see how he does next year. Jacob Kuhlman has some growth in there as well. Velarde also grew, even statistically, even though he was on the third line. So that's good for him. Kaliev's up to an 81 now. Had some statistical growth in there, as well as a little bit of natural growth and poise. But in the system is what I'm really focused on here. As Charles Fleury, he is a 74 overall. He didn't really grow much. But as we take a look at Nazareth, he's at 80 overall now. So he is ready to go for next season, it appears. And he is, hopefully, he'll grow even more over the offseason. And he had 15 points in 54 games in Russia. Definitely glad we traded up to get him. Baikov's up to a 71, so he's certainly been growing steadily. And Rissmiller, I believe we selected didn't we select Rissmiller in the seventh round last year? And he is already up to a 71 overall, low elite, 18 years of age. Look at the growth this guy had. 11 in everything in puck skills. 18 offensive awareness. Holy moly. The shooting accuracy up by 12. Defensive awareness up by 18 as well. I mean, geez, what a growth year this guy had. Holy moly. Let's take a look at his stats. In 58 games, he had 15 points in the Liga. So, wow. What a steal of a pick in the 7th round. And a look at Colin Griffith. He also grew a little bit. He had 26 goals and 47 assists in how many games? Let's see, 64. All right. Not a bad stat total. Not much of an improvement on last year, but still, nonetheless, I'll take it. He had some growth in there. 2 to everything in puck skills, and that looks to be the extent of his growth for the most part. Had some strength in there, body checking, shot blocking, stick checking. So hopefully we see him in the NHL sooner rather than later. So once again, we had some good growth in there. It's unfortunate that the Edmonton Oilers beat us out once again. And the draft lottery results, Montreal moves from 3-1, then is Boston from 4-2, Ottawa from 5-3, Buffalo from 1-4, and then San Jose from 2-5. Everybody else stays put. And the retirement, Sidney Crosby retires this year. And honestly, he probably could have kept going. He had 46 goals and 46 assists this year, 92 points, and he decides to hang him up. Wow. So good career for him. Kessel also hangs him up. So he had 53 goals this year with Anaheim. Anaheim decided to sign him in free agency when we had to let him go because we couldn't afford him anymore. And wow, what a career for him. So the 40 goals he had with us last year weren't even the extent of what he was capable of. Think about it. He never hit 40 goals before that. And then once he got going with us, he was able to get 53 goals with Anaheim in his final season in the NHL. Wow. That is incredible. Blake Wheeler also retires. Pavelski retires. Krejci, Suter, Brown, Keith, Yandel, Little, Oshie, Steen, Shattenkirk, Smith. So Brown, obviously, good career with your LA Kings, but it looks like he hangs him up. And a goal, Rask, Rene, Crawford, Halak, Elliott, Talbot, Hutton, Darling, and Phil Kessel is now a coach. Except he's with the Anaheim Ducks now, so we're going to have to see if Anaheim releases him or not. But if he's in the coach in free agency, then I'll definitely take a look at him just to see what he's all about. All right, so let's take a look at our contract situation before heading into the draft. We have to re-sign Ho, we have to re-sign Velarde, Ehlers, Manson, and that's about it as far as big names go. Then you also have Markkanen, who needs an extension off his rookie deal, but he doesn't want too much, so we should be able to bring him back. So what about Ho? What do you want? You want 5.6 for 1 year. Velarde, you want 5 mil. Ehlers, he wants 5.5, so that's less than what he's making now. Manson wants 5.1. I think we're going to have to release him. We might be able to keep Ehlers, depending on what happens, but I think we're almost definitely going to have to release Manson. So here we go, right into the NHL Entry Draft. Montreal is picking first, and they will almost definitely take that franchise sniper, and there's no teams in the top 5 that want to trade. The first team that wants to trade is Philly at number 10. Is there anyone at number 10 worth trading for? Probably not, but we'll take a look anyway. Not immediately obvious. I mean, the scouts didn't do a very good job this year, honestly. Yeah, we'll just let Montreal pick here, and we'll get up to our pick at number 23. So yes, indeed, Montreal does take Vayu. He has an 82 overall center sniper with the franchise tag, of course. Looks good. Lawrence then goes to Boston. Then you have Morrison to Ottawa. Then Glebov to Buffalo. Perron goes to San Jose. Lazarev, who is a medium elite 80 overall sniper, goes to Vancouver, 6th overall. And so hopefully we can get something good at 23 here. So there is Sven Jacobson, who is 3 years away from the NHL. There's a guaranteed low elite here in Holmberg. We saw before with the scouting issue. He's been scouted 40 times this year. Great to know. Hogan is going to be NHL ready sooner. He's only 2 years away from the NHL as opposed to Holmberg. Although we don't know his potential as we do with Holmberg. What were his numbers? 13 goals, 33 assists in the USA. Holmberg had 16 goals, 22 assists in the OHL. Yeah, none of these other guys are really standing out to me. I think it's either Hogan or Holmberg. I think I'll take Hogan, to be honest, since he's only 2 years away from the NHL. I mean, I don't know about his potential, but the fact that he's fewer years away from the NHL than Holmberg is, I'll take the risk on him. Welcome to LA, Brad Hogan. He is a medium top 6, 66 overall. That's about what I expected. 75 offensive awareness, pretty good shot. So with this pick, there is a 3-bar medium elite goaltender available, Glenn Sloan. He may or may not be 4 years away from the NHL, and he may or may not have B- reflexes and B for athleticism, but still, the potential of a medium elite goaltender sounds pretty nice. Big pick. He is medium elite. Nice. At a 59 overall. So obviously we already have Charles Flaherty in there. We have Shesterkin currently. So this is just a backup option if we need him sometime down the road, but nonetheless a good pick. So potentially interesting pick here could be Curtis Riesner. He's 19, but he may only be 2 years away from the NHL. So I think that's a pretty good reason to take him, and I don't see anybody else here who really interests me. There's Jermaine Jenkins, who's 3 years away from the NHL, but the potential of Riesner only being 2 years away, it's kind of enticing, so I think we'll take him. And he is a medium top 4, 67 overall. Okay, very nice. I will certainly take it. Two-way defender, 73 offensive awareness, 75 defensive awareness, stick checking and shot blocking already up there in the mid-80s, liking what I'm seeing. And at pick 85, there's a gem available who's actually supposed to go 94, but we don't have another pick until after he'll be gone. And he may be 4 years away from the NHL, But obviously what stands out about him is that our scouts think he's a gem, so we'll take Gautier Leduc here and see what he is. He is a low top 6 with the 62 overall. Now we're at that point of the draft where I'm just going to take the highest ranked 18-year-old. So Franco, welcome to the team. You are a low elite defenseman. Okay, was not expecting that. Offensive defenseman as well, but unfortunately the 65 offensive awareness and a 48 overall. So hopefully he is one of those fast growers like we saw with, what's his name? Like we saw with Rissmiller, who's already a 71, and we chose him in the 7th round last year. So he may end up being another Rissmiller, or he could end up just being a bust. Who knows? But nonetheless, still, for this point of the draft, a very good pick. So let's send the rest of the draft. And there you go. So welcome to the LA Kings. Hogan, Sloan, Reasoner, Gautier Leduc, Sue, Sean Makers, Josephson, Malkin, and Franco. And here we go. Here's the fun part of this offseason. So anyone who does not want to re-sign, we are just immediately cutting. I have no leeway to deal with any of them. Well, except for Ho and Velarde. We're going to have to negotiate with them for sure. But everybody else, I don't think so. So Markkanen wants a very cheap contract. We will definitely give this to him. Ho wants 2 years for 5.6. And Velarde, what do you want? You want 3 years for 4.8. Okay, I think that's doable. Of course, though, since Velarde does not want to re-sign, we're going to have to pay him a little bit more than what he wants. I'll try 5 mil first. And as for Ho, I'll go 2 years for you at 6 mil. Not signing anybody else until I know I have those 2 signed. There's Velarde, and there's Bykov, there's Turco, Markkanen, Hughes, Ho. Alright, so good. We got those. We got everybody signed who we just approached. Now we have 14 mil in cap space left, and all these players left to sign. Yeah, we're definitely not signing everybody. That is for sure. So order of importance, I think Ehlers definitely has to come first. So what does Ehlers want? He wants 5.4 for 5 years. We can definitely do that. Manson wants 3 years, 5.1. Okay, so we're going to sign Ehlers first. He's definitely my top priority as of right now. Don't know if I want to give him 5 years, though. I think I'll give him 4. I certainly want to get him locked up long term. I'm just debating the length a little bit. Yeah, I think I'll give him 4. So 4 years, and I'll give you, if I could take you down to 4.8, that'd be great. Yeah, Lowry was pretty good defensively last year, so we'll re-sign him, I think. I'll go 1 year at 1.6. Gooley was honestly really good last year. He was a plus 20 with a lot of hits, 88 hits, 65 blocks, and a good takeaway to giveaway ratio as well for a defenseman. So I think we'll re-sign him. Wants 1.6 for 3 years. I'm going to take you down to 1 year just to play it safe, and I'll give you the 1.6 that you want. Gooley rejects. He was not content with the amount of minutes he played. Lowry rejects as well. Ehlers rejects as well. Let's try again with Ehlers. I'll keep going for 4 years, but I'll take you to 5.1 instead. Gooley, I'll give you 1 year at 1.7. I don't think I could do much more than that. As for Lowry, I'll give you 1 year, 1.8. And there's Gooley, there's Lowry, there's Ehlers. So looking at our defensive core, we could definitely use Manson back. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. He'd be number 4. 5 is Spence. 6 is Nazarov. Nazarov's coming in this year. He's an 80 overall. And then you have Anderson as the 7th. Yeah, we could definitely use Manson back. Although I'm not going to give him 3 years. I will give him 1 year just to play it safe. And I'll take him down to 4 points. I'll try 4.8. As for Kopitar, I'll give him 1 year. I'll try to take him down to 1.75. We really cannot afford much more than that. As it is, Mikey Anderson wants 2.4. So yeah, Anderson's the last one on the list now. And I think I'm just going to tender him and trade him to a team that wants him. All right, so now let's take a look at what we need. I think we're set in goal. We have Shesterkin and Markkanen. On defense, you have Doughty. Clark, who's now an 88. Kuhlman, 86. Manson, 84. Spence, 82. Gooley, 79. And, of course, Anderson is currently tendered. And then Nazarov, who we have yet to sign. So we should be set on defense as well. Forwards, you have Pasternak, Turcotte, Byfield, Ho, Olofsson, Velarde, Ehlers, Kaliev. So that's 8. 9 is Kopitar. 10 is Lawton. 11, 12. I think I would prefer to get some sort of third liner. Although I don't know if we're going to have enough money for that. Probably not. We only have 3.4 to work with. So we might just have to settle for someone who's like 81 overall. Because as it is, the fourth line is probably going to be Kopitar, Lawton, and Lowry. So I would like to get someone to play with Velarde and Kaliev. So ideally, I'd like a playmaker, but I don't know if we're going to have enough money for a really good one. I mean, it's not like we could have done much in this free agency anyway, but still, I want to see who is available and who would be the most cost-effective here for what we're looking for. So here's an interesting one. There is Athanasu. He is 30 years old. He is a playmaker, asking for 2.9, so he fits within what we have with the 3.4 in cap space. He had 33 points last year. And presuming this is correct, he has a 3-bar scheme fit on the third line, which is where he would be playing. He also fits on all power play lines and all penalty killing lines. So I think Athanasu would be a pretty good pickup if we could get him for a reasonable price. Now, obviously, we can't overpay too much for him because we are very close to the cap ceiling. So I'm just going to play it safe. I'm going to give him 1 year, and he actually comes down in his asking price if we give him 1 year. So I think I'll just give him 2.9 and hope he signs for 1 year. So that being said, let's see if we get Athanasu, and then, presuming we do, we will move on to the preseason. And there it is. Athanasu has signed with us. Now we will advance to the year 6 preseason, I believe it is now. But not before we trade Mikey Anderson to the Winnipeg Jets. They have the best offer on the table for the RFA defenseman. So there you go. Accept that trade. Hopefully you get some playing time over there in Winnipeg, because it clearly was not going to happen over here. And here we go. Let's see the offseason growth. So Shesterkin is an 89, Markkanen is an 84, and Malik is an 80, and Flaherty is a 79. So good to see. We have a lot of reliable goaltenders, it looks like. And on defense, you have Doughty, who has dropped to an 89, unfortunately. So he's starting to make his way down there. Luckily, there's only 2 more years on his contract. And as for Clark, he is an 88 overall now, so certainly looking much better. Kuhlman is at an 86, Manson 84, Spence 82, Gooley 79, and we'll see what Nazarov is in a little bit. We haven't signed him yet. As for forwards, you have Pastrnak 92, Turcotte 88, Ho also 88, so despite the slow season last year point-wise, he did grow. So that's good to see. Velarde with an 86, Byfield 86, Olofsson 86, Ehlers 85, Athanasu 83, Kaliev 81, Lawton 80, Kopitar 80, Lowry 79, Patan 79, and Luff 77. Anyone in the system? Not really. So now let's see what Nazarov is. He is an 82 to start this season. Okay, so we are definitely going to sign him. Mr. Nazarov, welcome to the team. And here are the lines for the start of year number 6. We have Olofsson, Turcotte, and Pastrnak on the first line. Second line is Ehlers, Byfield, and Ho. Third line, Athanasu, Velarde, and Kaliev. Then you have Lawton, Kopitar, and Lowry. On defense, you have Clark and Doughty, Kuhlman and Nazarov, and then Manson and Spence. On the power play, you have Ehlers, Turcotte, Pastrnak, Byfield, and Spence. And then Olofsson, Velarde, Ho, Clark, and Kuhlman. 4-man power play is essentially the same. Penalty kill, you have Velarde, Ho, Manson, and Doughty. So Doughty's still getting top penalty kill time. And then you have Lawton, Kopitar, Kuhlman, and Clark. 4-on-4 is Turcotte, Pastrnak, Clark, and Doughty. Byfield, Ehlers, Kuhlman, and Nazarov. Velarde, Olofsson, Manson, and Spence. 3-on-3 is Turcotte, Pastrnak, and Doughty. Byfield, Ehlers, and Clark. Velarde, Olofsson, and Kuhlman. Extra attackers, Pastrnak and Ho. And shootout, Pastrnak, Kaliev, Ehlers, Ho, and Doughty. In goal, Shesterkin and Markkanen. Scratched are Gooley, Patan, and Luff. So that being said, I think we'll end this one off here. And the next one, we will get to the simulation of year number 6. See you guys then.